Very well. Honorable Nilante.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. Chairman, first, I want to ask the Honorable nominee, what are the three main subsectors within the fishing industry in Ghana? The three main subsectors within the fishing industry in Ghana.
The fishing industry, the three main subsectors. Yes, Honorable Minister. Yes, Honorable nominee, we're listening to you. Ignore them both sides of the house and address me, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I don't understand the question very well, so it'll be very difficult for me to answer it.
No, member, can you break it down for her for me, please?
Unfortunately for me, I don't know how to rephrase this question because very simple, straightforward question.
Subsectors. If you take the whole fishing industry, which sectors are identifiable, which whether it's what do you call the marine subsector?
Mr. Chairman,
I'm verifying.
That's not fair.
I'm verifying for
Mr. Chairman,
you.
that's not fair. Mr. Chairman, that's not fair.
What are the three subject branches you can
Mr.
find?
Chairman, I said I didn't understand the question.
Just
I wanted to be
now.
sure of what he was talking about. Yes.
Now, yes.
I said, what are the three main subsectors within the fishing industry?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have the marine sector, aquaculture, and then the inland sector.
Okay, my second question. Ghanaians have complained a lot about the penetration of Chinese into retail, mining, and other sectors of the economy. Are you aware of the length of Chinese penetration in our fishing industry? And before that, will you, by chance, heard of the number of Chinese trawlers on our seas?
Honorable, first, are you aware of the Chinese, numbers of Chinese, the Chinese invasion of our shipping? Are you aware? That's the first one.
No, Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware of that.
Yes, the number of trawlers, big fishing vessels that are on the seas. Do you know the number?
Mr. Chairman, I'm told there are between 80 to 100 trawlers on the sea. I'm not very sure, but that's the information I got. But I don't know their owners.
Mr. Chairman, this work is also to help the nominees when they are approved to do better at the sector. So if you allow me, she has mentioned about 80. I have with me here the list of number of Chinese trawlers within our fishing industry. I will give, Mr. Chairman, just I'm saying that is to help her in case she's approved. Here, two types of way bills that are issued to the trawlers when they catch fish. One is official Ghanaian waybill, and the other one is the unofficial Chinese waybill. So we have a Ghanaian waybill and a Chinese waybill, where the quantity of the catch is virtually under invoiced on the Ghanaian waybill, but specified correctly on the Chinese waybill, so that they will elude paying the proper customs and fines to Ghana government, whilst they pay the right one to the Chinese. I will give it to you. I have with here too a specimen contract that they enter into with Ghanaian fishermen in what they call transshipment. When they catch the fish on the high seas, instead of bringing it down for it to be properly accounted for, they sell the fish to fishermen illegally on the high seas, and they sign contract with them. So, I will hand those things over to her.
That's a very good information that will assist her if she becomes a minister.
Yeah, I'll go for my second question.
Right. Can he?
Because this one is just to assist her. How many regions in Ghana do we do artisanal fishing? And within that sector, just give me four of the
You're compounding the questions and say my second question and my third question. Kindly let her answer the first one, then you can.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I'm right, there are 4 regions. And if not, when I get there, I'll find out and get back to you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, she said 4 regions. Can she mention the 4 regions for me, please? She said 4 regions. So I will want to know the 4 regions. The 4 regions, if you mention them for me. Will you mention the 4 regions for me?
I know of the Volta region, Greater Accra region, Central region, and Western region.
Do we do fishing in the Eastern region?
No, you've exceeded your limit.
Chairman, it's on the same question, the follow-up for the same question.
Thank you very much. You've had enough.
No, Chairman, because we do
Yes,
fishing even in your constituency, in your region, we do
Honorable Minority Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in an answer to an earlier question about the shooting, she apologized and she said the matter was before the police, so details of it could not be discussed. Okay, I just wanted to find out from her whether she was aware that a number of her constituents got hurt, some lost some of their property. Oh, okay, you couldn't hear me. I'm saying that during that particular incident, a number of your constituents got injured. Others got their property damaged. The motorbikes and shops, bullets hitting their kiosks and other things. Are you aware that this happened to some of your constituents?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know which of the incidents he's actually talking about.
I'm talking about the very one that you said was happening around 6 a.m. That you were aware that some of your constituents got injured, some got their property destroyed. Whether you were aware?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware, as I already alluded that the case is under investigation and I don't have any reports in my hand.
So, after the incident, did you follow the news item that showed some of the young guys injured with blood all over them? Some of the women that were saying that there were bullets that hit their kiosks. You never followed those stories?
Well, I heard about, I read the stories, but I never heard about people being injured and blood flowing here and there. I never heard about that.
So, you mean to say, as the MP for the area, when persons have been injured as a result of the fracas that happened at the polling station or near the polling station, as an MP, you never took pain to find out whether some people were injured and whether some properties were destroyed. You never did that.
Mr. Chairman, I would want to create this impression here that I gave a warning shot in the air. It was not directed to anybody on that day. Thank you.
No, but did you hear that any people have been injured or properties damaged on that day?
Like I said, no.
Mr. Chairman, yes, you might have fired in the air, but you know that it resulted in people running helter-skelter. And even some of the EC materials got destroyed because people were running up and down. And therefore people got injured. You never heard these stories. You never followed up to see whether these were true.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mentioned that the incident was out of the polling center. The polling center was in the compound, in the house, and the incident happened outside of the compound. So I didn't see whatever happened in the compound.
And you didn't find out later what happened to individuals from your constituency. You see, I'm asking all this to be able to help me tell whether your apology is sincere. We are all MPs. Incidents do happen in our constituency. Sometimes supporters of even your opponent. But you hear people are in there, you try to go and visit them, try to comfort them, to let them know that it was not deliberate. So when you apologize, then people will now believe that your apology is sincere. But if something of this nature happened in your constituency, with all the news around it, you never find it necessary to find out those who were injured and to visit them, and you come to our appointment committee, you say, oh, you are sorry. You make it difficult for me to believe the sincerity of the apology.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the best of my knowledge, nobody was injured that day. To the best of my knowledge.
Okay,
it never came to my notice that day.
The Chairman, I'll just continue. In Ghana, one of the major challenges that we have is inadequate biosecurity measures. When I talk about biosecurity measures, I'm talking about our ability as a country to protect our borders from persons coming into our country with other organs, whether plants, animal, fish, and what have you. So because of this, our borders is led to smuggling of unauthorized strains into our aquaculture sector. This has led to outbreak of diseases on farms in some instances. What will you do as incoming minister to avert some of this illegal introduction of unapproved fish strains into the aquaculture sector?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will want to assure the House that I will work with the appropriate agencies to make sure that we enforce the law by bringing sanity in the sector.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, equally the aquaculture sector has no fish laboratory. As a country, we do not have any laboratory that does diagnosis and assists fish farmers in maintaining their farms. What will she do to change this situation?
Please, did you say the question again?
A laboratory. The whole industry. There's no laboratory to assist those who want to trade in or do business or the farm in fishing. What is your plan in that respect as a minister?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When given the nod we have the researchers already there. So all is to make sure that we help to put up the necessary offices to run all these tests.
Where are the researchers?
Mr. Chairman, I've read that we have fish researchers in the system. But when I get to the ministry...
Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, is that the researchers are for scientific and CSIR?
The Commission.
Okay, the Fisheries Commission. Very well. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, as much as you may want to assist the nominee, I was talking about laboratory, because in the aquaculture sector, you need a fish laboratory to assist them in doing so many things. And for a very long period of time, as you may agree in your earlier answer, our fish intake far exceeds even meat and poultry, meaning that the fish industry is a very viable one. But we do not have laboratory. And I'm saying that when given this note, what will you do to change this situation of lack of fish laboratory to assist the aquaculture sector? That's the question.
Mr. Chairman, that's what I said, that in collaboration with the Fisheries Commission and other agencies that are responsible, we will enhance or enforce on these research activities on the fishing.
Chairman, let me just go back to her old place when she was the Minister for Special Initiatives. She said in an earlier answer that the target that is set to achieve has been achieved. Is that right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
What was the target for the warehousing flagship program that you target to achieve?
The warehouses.
Yeah, the warehousing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We targeted to build 50 warehouses, and as I speak, 42 are fully completed, and 8 are between 80 to 90 completion. As at somewhere October that I got the report from the consultant.
So I just want to find out, this 42 that she's saying is completed, where are some of them located? Yeah, where are some of them located?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we have one at Sandema, 2 in Tamale. I don't know whether it's south or central, but in Tamale. We also have 2 in Techimai. Then we go to the western region, both western north and western region. 8 are completed there.
In western region?
Yes. That is Bia, east or west, the last part of Bia. Not where a champion is, honorable champion is, but the other constituency. That one is completed. Bia West. Thank you. And then we go to...
Yeah, so I'll let you mention some of them. So for example, the one in Bia West, what was it meant to store?
Mr. Chairman, the warehouses were constructed in collaboration with the Agric Ministry and buffer stock. So when the request was made, we were asked to take the project.
I don't dispute that, but I wanted to know, because for example, if the one that you may say in Edra, maybe may not have been constructed to assist the maize farmers. Maybe in Nkranza is for maize farming. Maybe the one in Sandema is for something. I'm saying that the one in Bia West, what was it meant for storage? What were the target for storage?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For grains and cocoa beans.
So, Mr. Chairman, I want to find out from here, with regards to the 1 million per constituency, how much of the target have you achieved?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have achieved close to 70–80%.
But did your constituency receive $4 million?
Mr. Chairman, I didn't say we received, we have achieved 100%. I said 70–80%.
So how much did your constituency receive out of the $4 million?
Mr. Chairman, I cannot tell the exact amount that was given to your constituency because it depends.
I'm not talking about my constituency because that may be, I may admit, that may be difficult for you to be able to tell how much Tamale North got or Aswansi got. But I'm talking about your constituency because that will help us to be able to see this target that you are talking about is achieved.
You mean my constituency?
Yes.
I'll cross-check, but I'm not sure my constituency got more than $2 million.
So was it in project or in cash?
It was in project, Mr. Chairman.
What are some of the projects that were taking place in your constituency in respect of this about $2 million that you are talking about?
Mr. Chairman, the constituency needed one warehouse that I just mentioned because there is market there and they bring in grains. So we have, which is yet to be completed. It's one of the between 70–80 that I mentioned. We also got road construction and then 2 school buildings.
So are you saying that the special initiative was also embarking on road construction?
Mr. Chairman, the purpose for Special Development Initiative was to bridge the gap in development. That is why we said we took needs assessment. So the needs in your constituency are the projects that you request for. They need to be done. Thank you.
So in your case, part of it was used in construction of road. I say in your case of your constituency, part of it was used in construction of road.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, because we have bad roads in our constituency.
Mr. Chairman, with regards to the dams that some people have described as dugouts, how many villages, because you have conflicting figures, we intend to do, every village will have a dam. So no, we didn't say, or some say, oh, we targeted to do 500. Some say, oh no, that's not what we did. You being in charge, how many villages did you target to construct this, whether dugout or dams?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The one village, one dam was not to give every village within the 4 years, because the number of villages in the 3 or 5 northern regions, if I'm not mistaken, are more than 5,000. So there was no way we could finish constructing over the 5,000 dams within the 4 years. But we targeted it that we were going to give every constituency in the 5 northern regions 10 dams for the start. And that was what we did.
And so in total, how many were the targets for the 10 per constituency in the 5 regions of the north?
Mr. Chairman, there were 560 because one constituency had no site for, was not suitable, well, could not be constructed with a dam in the north.
The target was 560. How many were you able to construct?
We have been able to construct, Mr. Chairman, 400 and
If you don't have it really, maybe you could provide
Yeah,
it.
we've constructed about 470, but we have the active ones. The active ones to be 450 something, yeah.
You said you had about 470 constructed, but the active ones are about 400.
Honorable nominee, when you say active ones, what do you mean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, when I say active ones, those that are being used, because we had issues with some of them that were constructed. Thank you.
So these about 400 to 450 that you are talking that are active, are they able to reserve water throughout the dry season?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I have the number here. 471 active sites. And then we have 427 fully completed. We also came up with some correction that was not part of the initial construction. That is the stone pitching around the embankment. And as we speak, we've done about 170. Those that have been reported to me before we went for election, it was 170, yeah.
So I was asking whether these active ones of about 427, as we just stated, are able to retain water throughout the dry season.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
That for sure is that the report that you got that they're able to retain water throughout the dry season?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
There's someone I will take her to the ambulance. In an earlier answer to your question, you said the ambulances that were supplied were 370. Am I right?
I said 307.
307. Which companies supplied these ambulances?
Mr. Chairman, the ambulances were supplied by five or seven different companies, yeah.
Is it 5 or 6 different companies? Okay, between 5 and 6 companies.
Six different companies.
Do you remember any of the companies' name? The companies that did the supply. Do you remember any of them, their names?
No, please.
You don't remember any of them, their names? Is any of them, as you don't remember any of them, their names? You don't? The companies that did the supply?
I think I can remember one or two.
What's the name?
I think one is Luxury, and then the other one is Prestige or something.
Well, were the ambulances, which brands were they? The ambulance, which brands were they?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. They are Benz.
All the 307 are
Yes,
Benz?
please, all the 307.
But these suppliers, are they authorized dealers of Benz in Ghana? Is any of them the authorized dealer of Benz in Ghana?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Which of them do you know is an authorized dealer of Benz in Ghana?
Does any of them have the authority to be the one selling and servicing Mercedes-Benz in Ghana?
Mr. Chairman, I know Luxury for sure sells different types of cars, but I don't know whether he's an authorized dealer.
So, do you remember the cost per ambulance?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. From the production to the distribution point with the insurance, it all costs us around 177,000.
Come again?
$177,000.
I have 177,000 US dollars per ambulance with insurance and everything. Why didn't you buy it from an authorized dealer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, when the tender was open, PPA emphasized on authorized dealers authorization permit, which they produced. They produced it, and that is why we allowed them to.
So you are saying that the 6 companies produce authorized
dealers authorization.
Dealers authorization, that there's those that have been authorized have given them the go-ahead to procure.
Yes, please.
Is that what you're saying? And can you furnish this committee with copies of such letters?
At the appropriate time.
No, not. Can you provide us with copies of those letters? When you say at appropriate time, yes, so that you can provide it. But when it's appropriate time, I don't get it.
Sorry, I will provide them when.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, loans in Ghana are very expensive. When you walk to any bank to procure a loan for any business, it's very expensive. So because of that, government, for those of us in crops, get subsidized. Will you intervention program support fish farmers who want vessels?
Yes.
How do you intend to do that?
Mr. Chairman, through the Agri-Development Bank and soft loans, we will support the fishermen. Apart from that, in collaboration with private sector, we'll have to get the fish at a moderate cost, at the fish feed at a moderate cost, if I got the question very well.
Mr. Chairman, the fisheries sectors require clear gear management regime. Ghana has not yet got a single gear expert. There's no also gear laboratory. None of our university or technical universities teach gear development. Yet 90% of our fishery challenges can be traced to wrong gears. What would she do about this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will enforce the law of using the right gear for fishing.
Come again. I didn't get the answer. I didn't get the answer.
The question is, Ghana does not have a company that manufactures any of the things they use in farming. Is that right? That's what we call gears. Any of the things we use to farm, like the nets, the trawlers, or any of the things, how do you plan to assist in ensuring that any of these come?
Mr. Chairman, that's what I said, that we will collaborate with our Greek Development Bank to get them, because they are dealing with the farmers. Apart from that, we also enforce the law. That is, if we are able to assist them to get the right GA for the fishing, then we'll enforce the law for them to. Some of them actually have it, but because they think when they use the unauthorized one, they will have all kinds of fishes. That is why there is. So enforcing the law will also help us.
Chairman, when we talk about the gear, we're talking about the fishing nets. We're talking about the nets. So the president promised to acquire a research vessel for Ghana when he spoke in Tema in August 2017. Unfortunately, to date, we do not have a research vessel. Will you remind the president, and what will you do to ensure that we get a research vessel to support the aquaculture sector?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll remind the President.
Come again?
I will remind the President about it.
You remind the President.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, there are a number of cool stores that were started during the tenure of Honorable Shirley Aite as the Minister for Fisheries. Unfortunately, many of them that have been built across regions have not been completed, and they are now standing as white elephants. What will you do about these cool stores that are dotted all around and idle?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, when giving the nod, I will go around to find out what their problems are. And we will revive those that have become white elephants. And why those who have been started, those that have been started are not completed, then we'll complete them if they need be. Thank you.
Yes, Chairman, lastly, about the development authorities. The development authorities, they work under you, right? And you supervise the activities. You supervise the activities of the development authority. And there are 3 of them, right? So you pay attention to publication with regards to them, right? You don't put the mic, so I don't hear your answer.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
You know Samuel Atta Mensah, popularly known as Siemens. Siemens.
Yes, I do know him.
You remember his resignation?
Yes, I do.
And did you follow the accusation or the allegation that he leveled during his resignation?
No, Mr. Chairman, because he just wrote a letter through me to the President. But I didn't follow after the letter that was sent to me.
One of the accusations was that there was lack of teamwork from you. Was that right?
I'm not sure of what he said.
And then the other was that you wanted to be the leader of every procurement. Is that also right?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think that is not true.
So
because the authority has their budgets, all right, so I don't even tell them how to go about with their
Do you
procurement.
use the development authorities' procurement to satisfy party, constituency party executives?
No, Mr. Chairman. As I said, I'm not part of their entity tender committee, and I don't also give that directive.
It has never come to your notice that this is happening in any of the development authorities?
Never.
Do you know Dr. Al-Hassan Suleimana Anamzoya?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Who is he?
Mr. Chairman, he's one of the CEOs for the Development Authority. That is for the Northern Development Authority.
The Northern Development Authority. Are you aware that they officially right to demand 10% for every contract?
No, Mr. Chairman.
He just answered those questions.
I wanted to find out whether that has ever come to their attention.
No, Mr. Chairman.
If I provide you with letters that he has written, will that aid you to ensure that that is investigated?
What is her authority now? She's left that ministry. She's not in a new ministry yet. Or are you the one, the president's
She's still the president representative.
representative by the ministry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm the rep.
Okay, right then.
So until she's approved by this committee and so on, and she's still the representative of the president in that ministry. And I'm saying that if those letters are forwarded to her, we should ensure that it's investigated.
Mr. Chairman, I mentioned that earlier on. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I will provide the letters that shows the demand for the 10% signed by him to the consultant, and the letters that were used to share projects to constituencies from Yoyo constituency, their share. You have Nalergu and Gambaga constituency, their share. You have Chirapodi constituency, Yagaba, Kabore constituency, Wale Wale, and Napanduri constituency. The way they say, I will hand over all this to you. Mr. Chairman, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes.
Honorable nominee, congratulations.
Yeah.
Let me plead that you give me concise and precise answers. My first question has to do with the fish feed, which I'm sure you know impacts hugely on the cost of rearing and production. I know you to be somebody who reaches out to other ministries and colleagues and other industry players relevant. Would you consider reaching out to the finance ministry to ultimately ensure that a waiver is brought to Parliament for consideration?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will do that.
I'm sure you are aware of a number of interventions by the European Union in Ghana. One of them, which I think my colleague was trying to allude to, is their support for the building of laboratories in the sub-region in terms of fish rearing. Would you also consider some collaboration with the European Union in Ghana in leaving a good legacy in that industry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I will.
Finally, would you want to share your vision for the industry? For the industry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. My vision for the industry is to prove on the aquaculture sector and also inland fishing. That is one of my vision. Mr. Chairman, I will also be glad to support the fisher folks, especially the women, to be able to have to enhance their work in the sector. Thank you.
You're done. Very well. Yes, the leader.
Hawa, let me say congratulations. You and I have been on this path for over 15 years. You are a very shy-looking person. You don't like to be seen in public talking. It was difficult to convince you to be a woman organizer and even to be a candidate. And I must say, you're being here for the second time upon nomination by Mr. President is something that should inspire women. Because knowing you, you don't want to be sticking through such a group. But you've endured it. You like to work in the background. Congratulations once again for achieving this feat. Let me quickly draw your attention to the point you made on aquaculture. Our major problem is galamsey, and it affects our water bodies. And you know that aquaculture means relying on our water bodies. How do you hope to ensure a strong advocacy to enable you achieve this, since galamsey is still a big problem in this country and has taken a partisan political trend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will do stakeholders consultation in all the appropriate areas to let them know the bad effects on the galamsey on our water bodies. Thank you.
And I also want to commend you highly for your apology regarding the incident in your constituency. But in 2012, we had to come and rescue you at the collation center. Some young men nearly attacked you. The police arrested them when we had to get your collation done. Do you know whether these gentlemen were ever prosecuted and whether the machete and the other offensive weapons the police seized from them were exhibits in court? Can you tell us what you know about that case after that rescue?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, those culprits were arrested, but I never got any official report from the police. Thank you.
You are not sure whether those boys were ever prosecuted at all?
Yes, I'm not sure.
Okay. Mr. Chair, with respect, I thank you so much. That will be all for him.
Yes, Chairman, thank you very much. I appreciate that the nominee is a woman, and note further that there is underrepresentation of women in public life. But for the record, under Minister Shari Aite at Fisheries, the University of Cape Coast established a fisheries laboratory, so be informed adequately about it, and not to state there's no laboratories. And you would need to visit it in terms of that it will. Now, there is pirate attacking vessels in our now. Since some correspondent couriers even check to leave our ports because when you come with our vessels in collaboration agencies. Also, race, and we need assurance from you as the supervisor of SADA transformed into the Nigerian Authority. Party act internally the officers of Development Authority took away those tries with resignation. Majid Haruna, Chief Executive Development Authority. You see, the most painful thing is convicted. Probably Haruna and his family they are innocent. In the name of the probably for that load, will you assure this committee the matter who undertook that they are punished? And why is it long as minister? Because somebody had on principle of this, I did not. Yet he has suffered. Those who took him free, that as minister, you have told the laws.
Thank you, Mr. As I mentioned, the case is with the police, and so until they are done,
taking too long, more than you just can't leave it. Police as many money that was you interested in that. That leads me to you had target of 800 up a website. What that website address?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity. Once again to Ghanaian. Mr. Chairman, that take typo error. The correct amount for the 1,000 Ghana cedi was 80 cedi, and since the.
Did you ask the minister because we read the statement? 80,000 who did take the activity? Can you?
Mr. Chair, even do the activity. The activity was not executed for 20, and 80,000 was 3 development authority ministry. Development authorities and they were on. The ministry did one, which caused us 2,000 Ghana cedi.
Montakara first
he loves his country. His other role, chief executive for city, the radio and in print, he abhors to call ministerial interference in the work of an to appreciate on principle, would not condone wrong.
Thank you. I think the issue with the former CEO was that not only the former CEO, I would say largely most Ghanaians, thought the 1 million per constituency was money that was given to me in account. But this was a budget, and we all know how budget is being done in the country and allocation, even releases. When you are told that you have your release, it's a different thing altogether. Mr. Chairman, so when they took office, they kept pushing for me to release money, and I said, well, there was no money with me. We even had a meeting at the Jubilee House, and they were directed to open an account to which controller will transfer their goods and services into the account for them. Lo and behold, when we had the meeting, he had not even opened the account. And so he was directed to go and do it. On Monday, the following Monday, he tendered in his resignation. So I don't really know what the problem was.
So you didn't interfere in the day-to-day management and operations of the development authority, the 3 development authorities. Is that the case?
Yes, please. I never did that.
You didn't undertake procurement quietly behind the door on their behalf?
Mr. Chairman, there was no way I could do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, in an answer to a question, you were emphatic. Warehouses across the country were your wares. I'm holding your handing over note. I've only seen 35 warehouses completed out of 50. Is that the case?
No, Mr. Chairman. I know it's 42. As at the time, October, it was 42.
And you constructed 1,010-seater water closets across the country?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Did you consult members of parliament before undertaking those projects in their constituencies?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Yet, in the MPP manifesto that you were supposed to execute, these were constituency-specific projects. $1 million per constituency. You understand the $1 million times exchange rate and Nana Akufo-Addo 5.5, so 5 million Ghana cedis per constituency times 4 years. We should have had 20 million spent in each of the 275 constituencies. You remember your first bet, and I asked you where you are going to get the money from. Cumulatively, how much over the 4 years have you gotten for the execution of the $1 million per constituency?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I earlier on mentioned that for the first year, the ministry was in preparatory activities, setting up the ministry and the 3 development authorities until 2018, when the 3 development authorities came into operationalization. Mr. Chairman, so I will say that the 1 million per constituency was not started from the 2017 because the House approved for the 1 million per constituency, but it's not statutory, Mr. Chairman. So after every year, the money cannot be accessed or a new budget is made.
So apart from toilets, as you indicated, some fabrication of warehouses, what else did you do in the other constituencies? I'll refer you to an appendix in the budget for you to see some picture. But what else did you undertake as Minister for Special Initiative?
Please, I didn't get the question.
Apart from boreholes and warehouses, what other projects did you undertake?
Mr. Chairman, the boreholes, the warehouses, the ambulances, the 10,000 hospital beds were done directly under the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives. But with the development authorities, they did different types of projects, school buildings, chase compounds, markets, police stations, and culverts.
Did you undertake community clinics? Where? Community clinics. Did you undertake them?
Community training.
Clinics, hospitals, small hospitals.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we did the chip compound
Where?
and also mini clinics.
Where?
Mr. Chairman, I can't remember I know one at
No.
Akan.
Okay. So.
Yeah, one at the Akan constituency. One, I think, Amanfrum constituency. My constituency also gets one. Got one. Chufetumukwa. Yeah.
That's all right. Chairman, with your indulgence, just name 3 villages or communities where you did dams and relate to the prices that you procured those dams for our record. If you have any official record, where did you construct a dam? What was the cost of the dam? Just mention 3 communities and the prices associated with it, and attempt to give an explanation of the price differentials.
Mr. Chairman, I remember Garu, Timpani, Pusiga.
How much did it cost, each of them?
For the cost, I cannot specifically mention, Mr. Chairman, because it ranges between 200 to 250 Ghana cedi.
Will you make that available to this committee?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Minister, the record should be clean. 200 to 215 Ghana cedis or 1,000 Ghana cedis?
200,000 to 250,000 Ghana cedis.
Better.
So the maximum was 250,000 for a dam?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Did you visit some of them 3, 2 months, 6 months after the construction? You followed a Joy FM expose on some of it, did you?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I did.
Any lessons learned after you watched those videos from the media?
Sorry?
Did you learn any lessons when you read in the